There's a story told in the Netherlands about an old church. And for many years, upon entering it, everyone would stop and bow in the direction of this whitewashed wall. Nobody knew why. Everybody had been doing it for so long. It was a tradition. And besides, there was something fitting about it. It just felt right. It felt comfortable. One day, the parish decided to renovate the old church. They began to strip the paint off the walls, and they discovered traces of an old painting. So they slowed down and they slowly tried to pull everything off of it. And slowly there emerged a beautiful century-old image of Christ. No one was old enough to have ever seen it. Everyone had been bowing to it, not knowing the reason why, but sensing there was a good reason. I tell this story because in our lives we can and do face so many barriers. Economic status can feel at times like a partition, separating the haves and the have-nots. Unemployment, in the absence of any real employment opportunity, can be a major roadblock. Even the mundane existence of everyday life can be like a hedge, penning us into the same routine. People can be enveloped by addiction, and far too many are caged up in jails. When faced with any of these barriers, it is easy to have a sense of despair and see no way through it. We can become not necessarily accepting of our state, but resigned to it. We bow down to these walls. But I'm here to tell you that just like in the story, we must tear down these walls and look behind them and see what's behind. You have heard before about how I came to Belks in 2001. What you didn't hear was that after 3 months of coming down here and only 2 days after moving into a new house, I was told that my services were no longer needed. That wall of unemployment came crashing down upon me. At the same time, our economy was reeling in the wake of 9/11. The few jobs that were available, I was told I was either overqualified for or that I needed a degree. I went from running a store of 36 people to being unemployed to serving as a runner in a bingo hall for minimum wage. How was I going to survive? How can an old man like me go back to school? Well, Robert Kennedy once said, tragedy is the tool for the living to gain wisdom, not a guide for which to live by. I often say that losing that job was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. In fact, I did gain wisdom. I learned how much love and support my family had for me. I learned how to appreciate what I had. I learned to take advantage of the free time I had and become actively involved in community service and ministry. Rabbi Cushman, in his book, Why Did Bad Things Happen to Good People, said that too often people ask, why did this happen to me? He suggested a better question was, this has happened. What do I do now? Both the rabbi and Bobby Kennedy were saying the same thing. Don't bow down to these walls, but learn from them and go forward. I attended a job fair and met with representatives from the local community college that were touting a new teacher prep program. This was the first glimpse behind the wall that I got. I wish I could tell you it was easy, but I had been out of school for over 20 years. I had to dust off skills that had lied dormant for many years, sharpen these mental skills that had been dulled by years of disuse. Kennedy also said, only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly. I could have failed greatly in school. I could have ended up moving back down to DC and bowed down to the wall of retail management for the rest of my life. Yet here I am. I graduated with honors. Graduated with honors from Elizabeth City. Graduated with honors in my master's program at North Carolina Central. I've been a teacher. I've had over 60 children, over 200 children indirectly, whose lives I helped to shape. I'm so happy to be here with you today because by your presence, I know you have taken the first steps towards looking past your wall and working towards what is behind it. There are some important points I need to share with you. First, I encourage you, take the time to thank those who have helped you along the way, your friends and your family members. Hug your spouse, kiss your children, send a note to your teacher. Let them know you appreciate them. Second, get involved in community service or some type of leadership role. It is my experience you gain as much or more from doing that than the people that you serve. Third, take all of your courses seriously. You never know when you may need them. I wish I had retained the Spanish that I learned in high school. These last two points are important because when you apply for a scholarship, there are so many people trying to apply that they will look at things like that. The difference could be what you did. Finally, never allow the wall to keep you from fulfilling your dream. Robert Kennedy said, "There are those who look at the way things are and ask why. I dream of things that never were and ask why not." Rather than ask why I was unemployed, I dreamed of getting a degree, and I did. No one at our community college had ever won the Coca-Cola Scholarship or the Phi Theta Kappa Leader of Promise Scholarship. But with help and support, I asked why not, and I became the first. I look out at you and I dream that one of you could easily be the next to win these awards. There's a story about a group of teachers in heaven, and they asked St. Peter, "Who is the greatest teacher ever?" He pointed over to a man sitting on a rock and said, "That man right over there." One of the teachers said, "Surely you're mistaken. I taught him and he was always a troublemaker." Another said, "I used to see him hanging out over on the street corner." But St. Peter replied, "That's true, but he would have been the greatest teacher if only someone had encouraged him along the way." So I'm encouraging each of you today, no matter what your state in life, no matter what wall is blocking your way, look down behind that wall, find your dream, see your potential. Like the man in the story, I may look out here and see the next greatest teacher, the next greatest human service manager, the next greatest business person. Don't look at the walls and ask why. Look to your dreams and ask why not. Thank you very much.